So now, in continuing, because we've already spoken about the religious leaders, right? And they are very good religious leaders, very good, that I've experienced personally. So I can vouch for that. But I know they're very twisted religious leaders with significant influence. But anyway, there's something even much more sinister, man. You see, when people come, they meet you, and then they tell you that everything about you is wrong. And therefore, you should follow their version of the story. It's like what the Christians did here. The missionaries, right? The missionaries were basically like secret, what do you call these CIA agents? You see, they operated like CIA agents here in South Africa.
Catholic intelligence.
Yes. Because when they came, they infiltrated the villages, right? They got in there and they had knowledge about everything that's going on. Jesuits, secret orders of the Pope, right? So they understood the culture very deeply, and they understood the power of people living within that culture. For example, man, in my culture, there's no such a thing as a white person. So white supremacy doesn't exist in my world. It doesn't affect me at all. I don't recognize anything superior about whiteness. But then in the Western culture, it's the actual opposite. So now think about it. If someone wants to colonize you, how about destroying this culture of yours that praises everything about you and and disregards everything else? How about destroying that and replacing it with their own idea of supremacy? That's exactly what they did. For example, when you were born, you were given a name. It could be multiple names, né? And that name is based on an event or on a particular wish or on a prayer. From that name, you have a surname, which is basically your father's name. That's your surname. So-and-so of so-and-so. It's like your Germanic Von or Van. Van de Merwe. Van de whatever. So-and-so of so-and-so. That's how it works. And then you have a clan name. Now the clan name is a group of families that come from the same ancestor. Which means it's a much bigger surname. So within the much bigger surname, which is called a clan, there are other surnames, and then there are houses, and then there's families. So that's what a clan name is. It's literally your identity. A lot of people now who go to these churches, when you ask them, I once asked this lady, what is your clan name? She was like, I don't do those things, man. It's seen as demonic if I call you by your clan. Dlamini, Zulu.
Even if you have dreadlocks.
I'm coming there. I'm coming there because that's the demonization of who we are. Dlamini, Zulu. Hlathi, Mfene. That's my clan name. And when I do my recitations of clans, I'm not praying or whatever. I'm literally stating my lineage. Think about it. Hlathi, Jambase, Kanzi, Sanzanza, Zaba, Malukazi. These are people's names, man. The people who gave birth to me. That's basically my surname. I'm expanding on my surname. It has nothing to do with worship or praise. It's the same thing. You talk about Moses, whose real name is Moshe or Mose. You talk about Isaac, whose real name is Yatzer. You talk about Jacob, whose real name is Yakuba. These are dead people, my brother. They are no longer alive, but you can't not talk about them because they are ancestors. They're like a lineage, you see. So there's nothing demonic about stating a clan because that's who you are. That's your it's literally in your blood. That's one thing I've been saying, even to people who want to invoke ancestors and wake them up. How do you wake up someone who's inside of you? DNA is literally data from your ancestors who have lived. Everyone who has lived is inside of you. That's why you came out of the womb. You came from someone else's sperm. They came from another person's sperm.
With your grandfather's nose.
Exactly. You have your grandfather's nose, your aunt's ears, and your grandmother's chin. You are them. You are literally them. So this idea that, it's nothing demonic about it. It's who you are. Now, what I'm saying is, if I can demonize yourself, your sense of self, and then replace it with the opposite, everything that has a straight nose or whatever they call it, everything that has blue eyes or golden blonde hair or wavy hair or whatever, That's the highest level of being. That's the highest level of beauty. That's the highest level of, you should perceive that as better than everything that you are. Even these names like Arthur, names like Clement, or names like Clinton, these are the names that you should use. Don't use names like Masaki Sizwe, or names like Qika, or names like Kukeka. These are bad names, even the way they sound. If I can get you to believe that about yourself, that everything about you is demonic and everything about the people who came and killed you is holy, then you will have this sense of seeking to be like your conqueror. That's it. You will continuously seek to be like your conqueror. And that's exactly what's happening with people dyeing their hair blonde. I don't care if it's a trend or if it's not. You want to be like your conqueror. That's why you put a weave on your hair. I don't give a damn if you heard about it or if you're not offended. That's not my problem.
And they call the straight blonde hair A1, and then the kinky hair, they call it
C4, C4, something like that. Yes.
So they are A1. And
Yes.
then D.
Everything else is in the bottom. But then when you understand nature, how nature, look at this tree, man. Look at this tree behind you. How does it look? It looks like what type of hair? Looks like my type of hair. That's nature. Look at the roots of the tree. It looks like what type of hair? It looks like my locks.
Because it actually, the tree looks like your hair because it grows
It
towards the
is.
sun.
Yeah, exactly. The tree
Same
is
as
the
your
hair. Umti or mutiti. Muriri, hair. Hair and tree come from the same root. It's literally the same thing. Roots, hair and tree. It is the same thing, my brother. But the problem is when you are demonized, your being, your identity, your existence is demonic. So you should always seek to be what you are not. What that means is that even in the absence of your oppressor, you will self-oppress. What does Ellen G. White of the Seventh-day Adventist Church say? That everyone will be white, just like Jesus,
Jesus
when they get
himself
to
is
paradise. And you want to tell me that's a prophet you're going to listen to? A prophet in whose grave is the obelisk, which is a gift or a monument that is dedicated to Baal. It is a symbol of the private part of a man, an obelisk. It points upwards. It symbolizes a penis. That's your prophet, Ellen G. White of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Jesus, you will be turned white, like Jesus is white as well. Which means blackness has no place in this so-called heaven of theirs. I mean, heaven itself, I mean, if you read the Bible, this thing they talk about is not in the Bible. Anyway.
Talk about the new kingdom.
Exactly. Anyway, going back to when this demonization has taken place, people think our conquest was a physical military conquest. They think we were overcome by guns. No, my brother. We were not overcome by guns. Because we have guns, why are we not fighting now? The conquest was never a military conquest. The conquest was a spiritual one. We were conquered spiritually and mentally, which is spiritually. Such that when you sit down and you close your eyes and you pray, you see a white man with white beard. Think about that for a minute. And you see a white man with blue eyes. Think about that for a minute. If I would tell you that you need to see a black man when you pray, you will feel so uncomfortable. Your body will reject that. Your hair will start to move. Because that's the real conquest. That's how you were conquered. You're not conquered by a gun. You were conquered here. When I call you by your clan name, you feel uncomfortable. You feel like your body starts to disintegrate. There's this deep level of subconscious cognitive dissonance that you're experiencing because it goes against the trillion cells in your body. They reject my message. Why do you have to see the people who conquered you when you close your eyes and pray? Why do you see them? Why? Is it normal? Is it a good thing? Why can't you visualize your creator as looking like you? If you are, as science proves, the original human being on earth, would it not make sense then that the creator created someone in their image and likeness who looks like the original being on earth? Therefore, wouldn't that make sense to say the creator looks like the original being on earth? Think about that for a minute. You need to ponder on that. So, now to reverse this, and not just reverse it, but undo it and cut it off, you have to completely shatter any idea of Caucasoid supremacy. And it starts from the food you eat, what you believe is a nice thing, a nice style, a good standard of beauty. I can't go to South Sudan and tell them that those women with the plates in the lip are ugly, because that's not how it goes. Those women are beautiful in the eyes of their men. Actually, the men ask those women to put...
I think it depends on your standard of beauty.
Exactly.
How do you scale beauty?
Exactly. And those who are conquered, which is our people, they scale beauty based on the conqueror's ideas. That's why you need to put a blonde weave on your hair and look like some dirty little thing that I don't even
A
know.
wise man once said, if you can go to church wearing your Zulu attire, they will chase you out or call you.
It's a
to
demon.
to a small
It's a,
room
you are being a
devious.
demon here. You look like a demon with your spear and
Yeah.
you're a
That
demon.
man was Joshua Maponga.
Exactly. You should actually go to your church wearing your Zulu attire, wearing your skins, wearing your beads. Beads have nothing to do with Sangoma, man. Beads are produced somewhere in China. You're telling me it's a Sangoma stuff. These things are from ancestors. You're lying. These are Chinese, man. Original beads are there. They're natural seeds. Huh? They grow next to the rivers. Some of these beads, they're just roots that are cut in pieces. Nothing to do with dead people. If you can't be yourself in an environment, then that environment is not for you. Why should you change your name to John or Nelson? Why do you have to have an English name? How many English people do you know who have a Zulu name, Sotho name, Shona name, Xhosa name? How many English people do you know who are Andile?
And these people now who have these English names, when we're not even beaten.
No, they want the
unlike-
names.
unlike the
Yes, they want the names. That's why I'm saying the conquest was never through the gun. It's self-imposed. It's self-imposed, my brother. People oppress themselves in the absence of the oppressor. All white people can be taken to a cave somewhere. You burn them alive. White supremacy will still be in the minds of black people. It's black people who perpetuate slavery now. That's why when I had my hair, I had big hair on purpose, man. I had big hair. I had a lot of women telling me I need to cut my hair. A lot of our stupid women telling me that I need to cut my hair. It's ugly when it's big. It's not ugly, I promise you. I had really nice hair, man, because I washed it every day. I put essential oils to it. It was nice, it was soft, it was shiny. But they couldn't just be at peace with the idea that I'm allowing myself to be the way I'm natural, man. I must cut my hair. Even some churches, actually, they force black people to cut their hair. But you look at that white guy, he has big hair. They don't even cut their hair, man. So these machines were designed for me to cut my being. Now it takes me back to the locks, to the so-called dreadlocks. Because even the name dreadlock, it's not the name of the hair. It's called locks, not dreadlocks. There's nothing to dread about our hair, nothing to fear.
nothing dreadful.
There's nothing dreadful. But then religious text now, religion is slavery, man. The Quran, what does Muhammad say about the devil? Tell me.
You see that man over there, and he makes an
An analogy
yeah.
of a black man with locks,
Yeah.
that the devil looks like that man. So in the mind of the Arab supremacists, who are also white supremacists, by the way, the real white supremacists, because these Arabs have been enslaving our people for the past 1,400 years. They are still selling them right now here in Africa, in Libya, Morocco, Egypt. They even hate the fact that the Egyptians are actually black people. They try to remove it. Huh?
Now, if you can go to Egypt right now, there's this guy called Black Man the Traveler.
Yeah.
They were teasing him. I forgot the name they used to call him black. But they were actually singing.
Yeah, they're
using
mocking
that-
his
yeah, they were
blackness.
mocking him.
Except they're not mocking the walls, the paintings on the walls with black men ruling. They're not mocking those ones because they can't remove it. It's a burden, my brother. This thing of white supremacy, it's a burden because everywhere you look, it was black. It was a black civilization. This side, it was a black civilization. It was a black inventor. Everywhere you go, so you must somehow find a way to carry this burden.
Even the first car.
Even the first car, even
Frederick
the
Douglass.
Bible. These names, man. Why is this guy called Nigger? What is his name? Simon, the one they call Niger. Hey, why are they calling him Niger? Hey, this Israelite guy is called Cush because Cush means black. Ah, this other one. Hey, why are these names meaning black? A lot of names, when they mean black. Hey, why are these guys doing traditions that are found in Africa? Why are they keeping the Sabbath the same way it's done in Africa? It's a burden, man.
Others are mistaken for Egyptians.
Exactly, it's a burden. Why is this guy, Solomon, with dreadlocks? He had 7 locks on his head. Samuel had locks on his hair. What's happening? Hey, it's a burden for these white supremacists. Everything is going against their ideas. So they have to always find a way to scientifically justify the falsehood under which they live. But the locks, man, you know, in Egypt, in the earliest rulership of the pharaohs, because Egypt, man, remember, it was never Egypt. The name is Kama. The name of the place, Kama, Wakama, or Kamagat, which means the Great Kama. The originators of Egypt are actually Southern Africa. Baba Credo speaks about this. Southern Africa is the beginning of Egypt. That's why you have mummies found here in the caves in Southern Africa. The oldest sun disk with the Ankh was found here in Southern Africa. The oldest, the most primary, the most earliest ideas of the sun and the sun rays is amongst the Kwekwe people in Southern Africa. Anyway, the early pharaohs, because this culture of Egypt comes in Southern Africa, central region, central lakes, it goes up to the Nile in what they call the Nakada, I think the Nakada culture. And when you do the DNA analysis, the Nakada culture has 2 DNA strands, the E1B1 haplogroup, which is our DNA haplogroup, and the Hunter-Gatherer haplogroup as well.
But for me, bro, I don't even like to actually call my DNA with those codes, those evil codes, bro.
I agree. I agree. It's just for simplicity purposes for now. Because I don't want to get into what DNA is and all that, you see. But that's what they found, which is DNA that is sub-Saharan African, basically. My point is, the founding fathers of that civilization were black people. And the earliest pharaohs were black people until the Romans came and the Greeks came. Remember, the Greeks, they conquered the place, right? Then they installed their own pharaohs and all that. But the earliest pharaohs, you know what their crown was? Just think about it. Imagine what their crown was. It was locks. They didn't have anything on their head. They didn't have a gold, They had locks, what they call dreadlocks to this day. It is a crown, the natural crown. There's no other crown. You go to those statues in Egypt, you see the locks coming to the side, and those are noble people. Those are not your peasants. Those are not bricklayers. Those were noble families with locks in their head. Therefore, locks are a crown, a natural crown. And therefore, they want to demonize locks and telling you that it's the devil who has locks. Why did the Most High allow the prophets and the Nazarites to have locks in their head? Even the kings in Israelite kingdoms, they had locks. So that our hair alone, it increases your vibrations, man. If you haven't done this before, try it. Let your hair grow. Don't comb it. Just wash it and leave it the way it is. Do that for a year or 2. You will see the way you feel, man. It just gives you this amount of power. It increases your vibration to a level that I haven't experienced before. And I did this while I was at varsity. Because all my upbringing, I was programmed to cut my hair, right? Like we all are. You have to cut your hair to look nice. You have to cut your hair to do this. You have to cut your hair for this reason. So when I was in university, I was like, how about I let my hair grow? Keep it clean, let it grow, don't comb it. You can even comb if you want. Even a comb is not a European invention. We invented the comb. It's called inkaza. That's the real name of a comb. It's found everywhere in Africa. You don't have to comb your hair though, just to experience that natural state, and then you feel good about it. You must.
For me, I think, bro, we were not made to comb our hair.
Absolutely.
Because even when the Most High said, let there be, he never said, let there be a comb.
A comb. You
He
see,
never said, let there be clothes.
it's people who
We were born with
concern
clothes.
themselves. They concern themselves with these nonsenses, right? So let your hair be. You must love the way your hair is, man. Don't forget that type 4C nonsense is rubbish. There's no 4C here. It's natural hair. Your beard, natural beard. Don't cut your beard looking like a female here. What's wrong with men looking like females? This thing is for a man for a reason, man. Don't comb it. Don't remove it. Let it grow. Experience your masculinity in fullness and experience your femininity in fullness. Even if you're a white person, do the same. Stop trying to impose your white standards on other people. Do the same for your own culture. If you are an Asian, do the same in the Asian culture. If you are Mexican, do the same in the Mexican culture.
And I think, bruh, cutting hair is actually a barbaric thing.
It's
Because
stupid, man.
even if you hear the word of the place where you cut hair,
Barber.
it's actually a barber shop. So,
Ah,
it's right there
hey,
in your
man.
face.
Some linguistics. You're going to the barber to cut your hair off.
Yeah.
So, drawing back to the original point that I made, that churches, when they came, they did all of that, man. And not just churches, even Islam, right? We have Muhammad saying that the devil looks like a black man with locks. So they're demonizing black hair. They're demonizing black skin. They're demonizing your language and your names and your clan and your culture. You must not slaughter. It's animal abuse. But then they will feed you cows that have been shot at, bah, and traumatized. They will feed you milk that has been sucked with some factory nonsense that you don't even know how it works. You don't do.
Blood comes out
Even
of
blood
that
comes out when you drink milk with blood. They will feed you that. And they tell you, don't milk the cow. Oh, it's barbaric, don't milk it. They'll tell you, don't walk barefoot. It's barbaric. And then 5 years later, they come with some evidence from University of Stanford that, hey, you see, when you walk, there's some scientific evidence. So the goal here is, don't listen to these people. They have no clue what they're doing. If you are the original human being on earth, why should you listen to people who came later because of a mutation?
So I would say, for me, they know exactly what they're doing.
Yes.
They know exactly what they're doing. They actually have a clue of what they're
The
doing.
devil's work.
Yeah, you don't have a clue of what they are doing to you.
It's the devil's work. These are servants of the devil. These scientists are actually priests, high priests of the devil. Your Stephen Hawking, they'll tell you, no, there was a big bang somewhere.
Your Michael Jackson.
Yeah, man, this person is unable to help himself. He's telling you about some big bang theory. Help yourself, Baba, you're suffering. Huh? Some of these scientists, they're even going crazy, losing their mind. They can't even keep a marriage stable. But then they want to tell you they can solve the world problems. I'm sorry, my brother. If you can't fix your own house, you cannot fix my world. Unfortunately, you can't. You have to be a king in your own house first, and then you can be a king out there. Can't tell me, calling me, I know you came from a monkey. Look at that nonsense. Telling you came from a monkey. That's their science. So they attack you with religion. They attack you with pseudoscience. They attack you with pharmaceuticals. They put vaccines in your body. They put this, they put that. They attack you with every single thing they have so that you can live in this constant state of dysphoria.
But if we actually have a look at this monkey theology, I
Mm.
mean, not theology,
Yeah.
but yeah. They
The-
actually say that we first came from monkeys and then we became black people. And then
Yeah.
after that, we became
That was the whole
white.
point. So
The-
whites are the most advanced. Blacks are the most behind. We are the closest to the
No,
monkey.
What it actually means to me means that black people were the first civilization.
No, they agree.
You see?
But then they don't say first, they say primitive. They say you are the behind, you are behind because you came well, we were still dumb, we were still stupid back then. That's how they justify it. Like, no, it's true. Black people are the first, but at that time we were still primitive, we didn't know how to make fire. That's how they justify it. But then if you study history, you realize it's the opposite.
We were here first, but
It's the opposite. There were civilizations, man, Atlantis. See, these people knew how to navigate the world.
even here in Zimbabwe,
Even here in South Africa, right now. No, right now, underneath where we are, there are underground systems. Right now, here in the Garden Route, from Oudtshoorn, there's Ucango caves. People lived in those underground caves. It's an intricate system all the way to Table Mountain. In the Gauteng, man, there's ruins there. Stone buildings called Kweneng ruins. In Mpumalanga, Bukoni ruins. You see, in Limpopo, Zete or Zata, I think so. Then in Zimbabwe, you had Great Zimbabwe. But in Limpopo, you still had Mapungubwe. So all these provinces, there's great ruins.
Lamela.
Tulamela, there's even an underground city somewhere in Botswana, all the way down to northwest. An underground city. So, man, the idea that we are the most advanced, blah, blah, it's nonsense, man. Our ancestors were advanced way beyond. They even understood how the sun works. They understood the cycle of the reset.
Spectrum.
They understood everything. And we know nothing. So, the idea is, forget about Western beauty standards. Forget about American beauty standards. Forget about some white guy in the sky who you must pray to. Don't. Everything that you are is not by mistake. You are a careful design. And if you start to understand inward, turn inward and understand what's within, you will experience a very pleasant existence. When you interact with someone from a Caucasoid background, you'll interact them from that understanding of who you are. When you interact with someone from an Indo background, you'll interact with them from that understanding. You need to understand self. You cannot cry about colonization anymore. It's just not worth it. It's valid, but it's not worth it. You can't cry about apartheid anymore. Nobody's gonna come to help you. You have to help yourself. No one is coming. There's no one that's coming to save you. You need to save yourself because the tools are already inside of you. Peace.